I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Devil in a Blue Dress by Walter Mosley. Book number 1 in Walter Mosley's Easy Rawlins detective series. Although I don't know if Easy Rawlins is really a detective quite yet in this first book. Anyway, this thing was written in 1990. We always review the covers first. So let's take a look at the cover. Got the hardcover here. First edition hardcover. I think it's great. I think the style is perfect. The illustration is great. The illustration done by an illustrator named John Jinks. Very good. Nicely done for 1990. You know, because this book was set in... So Easy Rawlins is a dude living in California in 1948. He's a war veteran. And I think this cover kind of gives us the 1940s feel a little bit. A little bit of that World War II sort of artistic style. That hard-boiled crime fiction noir style, like that Raymond Chandler-esque style of artwork. That's kind of what we got here with this book that Walter Mosley wrote. Easy Rawlins, our main man in this book, he's a war veteran, an African-American World War II veteran. So he fought in the war. He's living in Los Angeles, 1948. Maybe some of you all remember this book from more of the Denzel Washington movie that came out in 1995, based off of this book, Devil in the Blue Dress. Had Denzel Washington, Jennifer Beals, Tom Sizemore, Don Cheadle. Had a lot of stars in it. Did pretty well. I've never seen the movie myself, but I did look it up, and it looks like it gets pretty good ratings. So, you know, Denzel, what can you do? Of course it's going to get good ratings. That guy's dynamite in everything he does. So we'll probably have to check out the movie soon to see how if it matches up to the book, because the book was dope. I love this book, I've seen Walter Mosley's books in the bookstores for the last 30, 40 years. Finally bought one and give it a shot. Not disappointed at all. Not disappointed at all. I mean, this guy can write some hard-boiled crime fiction. This dude is on point with his writing. I mean, just listen to this opening page. Just the description, everything about it. For this writing advice time, for you wannabe writers out there, just pay attention to these first couple paragraphs and you watch how he describes everything in the scene and the characters. You know exactly who they are, what their motivation is, and where they are, just within a few paragraphs. I mean, there's no messing around here, folks. So listen to this. This is told in the first person from Easy Rawlins' perspective. So, I was surprised to see a white man walk into Joppy's bar. It's not just that he was white, but he wore an off-white linen suit and shirt with a Panama straw hat and bone shoes over flashing white silk socks. His skin was smooth and pale with just a few freckles. One lick of strawberry blonde hair escaped the band of his hat. He stopped in the doorway, filling it with his large frame, and surveyed the room with pale eyes. Not a color I'd ever seen in a man's eyes. When he looked at me, I felt a thrill of fear, but that went away quickly because I was used to white people. By 1948, I had spent years with white men and women, from Africa to Italy, through Paris and into the fatherland itself. I ate with them, I slept with them, and I killed enough blue-eyed young men to know that they were just as afraid to die as I was. The white man smiled at me, then he walked into the bar, where Joppy was running a filthy rag over the marble top. They shook hands and exchanged greetings like old friends. So what have we got? We got Joppy's bar. We know what that looks like. We've got the white guy coming into the bar. We know what he's like. And then we know what Easy Rawlins is like just by his description of white men aren't common in this bar, But I know white men because I was in the war and I fought beside him. And not only that, but I killed enough of them to know who they are. Sets up our main protagonist, Easy Rawlins, and our main bad guy, Albright, who is the guy coming into the bar in a white suit. What's Albright doing in the bar in the middle of Watts, in the middle of the black neighborhood, showing up all white like he is, dressed in white? He couldn't be more white. Why is he coming into that bar? Well, he's looking for someone like Easy Rawlins who will go and, because this Albright guy, he's just a bad guy, and there's this girl he wants to find named Daphne, who happens to be the devil in the white dress. He needs to find her, and he knows that Daphne is really attracted to black men, and she likes to hang out in the black neighborhoods and hang out in all the black bars and all the black clubs, and he knows that she's just down there in the middle of the black neighborhood somewhere, and he can't go around searching for her, especially especially being as white as he is and always dressing in white and drawing attention to himself. I mean, Albright's kind of like a gangster, but he knows he needs somebody to find this woman because he wants her back, because he doesn't think that she needs to be hanging out with the type of people she's hanging out with, namely black people. And so he hires Easy Rawlins. Hey, I'd give you $1,000 if you locate this girl for me down in the black club scene. If you figure out what jazz club she might be hanging in or whatever, and you let me know where she is, that's all you need to do. You just need to let me know where she is. I'll take care of the rest. So Easy Rawlins is like, he's just out of the war. He can't keep a job. He's living in Los Angeles in the 1940s, and he's a black guy. And what this book is about mostly is black and white relations in the time. See, this is a detective story unlike any other detective story I've read. When I read Lee Child and the Jack Reacher books, or if I read Robert B. Parker and the Spencer novels, or if I read Robert Kreyes and the Elvis Cole and Joe Pike novels, those guys are white guys, and they're tough guys, and they just beat the shit out of everybody everywhere they go, right? Well, Easy Rawlins, he's a black guy, he's a tough guy, a war veteran, but he's living in the 1940s in Los Angeles where he is the minority. And he can't just be the tough guy wherever he goes. In fact, he knows he can kick the shit out of everybody that he meets. But he's very reserved, and he oftentimes lets people just walk all over him. Because he knows if he starts being a tough guy and kicking the shit out of everybody, his life on this earth isn't going to be for long. Because this book is a lot about race relations, more so than the detective story. That's what I loved about it. I mean, this Easy Rawlins guy, he's like, he feels the racism of that era. And, I've never walked in the shoes of a black man. I've never walked in the shoes of a black man in the 1940s. But reading this book, I certainly get a sense of what it might be like, even if you are superior in intellect and superior in physical skills to the people who are bullying you, and yet you still choose to just be submissive and kind of take it because in the long run it's not going to go good for you if you do it any other way. Which is a real interesting take on the detective novels, because every other detective novel that you read is different. The detective is always just a kick-ass guy, and he just mows through every scene just as the smartest, most wisecracking, wittiest, muscle-bound fucker on the planet, and he just... But with Easy Rawlins, we get the exact opposite. We just get a guy that just lets kind of people trample on him to save his skin in the long run. And it's just an interesting take. And he's just paranoid. He's just a paranoid guy. He knows the way the world works. And it's just a very eye-opening perspective to read. That's just one of the things that captivated me about this book, is because we know he can reach those levels of violence that need be to take care of the situation. Just when is it going to happen, right? When is it going to happen? And then Albright, our main bad guy, I liked, there's some scenes with Albright, the main bad guy, and some punk kids It was just great. It was you could see that Albright, the guy in the white suit, the white guy in the white suit, was a true gangster. He's a true gangster. He's a true like mafia gangster, right? And he's just a great. Every time he's on the scene, it's just great to read, you know. And then, so the whole mystery is: does Easy Rawlins find the devil in the blue dress? Does he find Daphne? Yeah, he does find Daphne, man, and she's another ball of trouble all her own self, right? And so then, things get mixed up. I just, and the thing that was fascinating to me is Easy Rawlins, when he would meet up with the white people that would just straight out bullied him. They straight out bullied him. He actually kind of respected them more than the white people that were really super nice to him. He was really actually more paranoid around the people that seemed to be not racist, because he's like, what is their angle? And it really adds an interesting, like, you kind of in your mind thinking, gosh, is Easy Rawlins the racist in this? Because some of these people are actually really good people trying to help him. And he's like thinking in his mind, man, I hate this person. I hate them. I would rather they just bully me and pick on me, because when they're nice to me, it just sets my senses a tingle. A very interesting. This is just. I mean, this thing was wrapping me into a puzzle, right? I mean, this was a puzzle, and I was just like trying to figure out. And I think it says a lot. I mean, Walter Mosley does a lot to just help you to kind of just feel that paranoia that must have been going on at that time that I never lived. I've never been a black guy. This is told from the perspective of a black guy in the 1940s. Just dynamite story with a message, just levels of messages, and a dynamite detective story just on top of that, and a great mafia story on top of that. I really think I found my next mystery series to start collecting, because I think there's about 15 more Easy Rawlins books to come. And I can't wait to buy them and get to them and review them for the channel. Devil in a Blue Dress, man, I give it 9 out of 10 stars.